In this video, we're going to see how to find slope or rate given a graph of a situation or given a pair of points. Now let's consider this first graph. This graph shows my distance from home for a particular trip that I took versus the amount of time that I had been traveling. Now you'll notice that I didn't start at home, that this graph shows that I started someplace else, but that's okay. So after 1 hour, I was 20 miles from home, and after 4 hours, I was 30 miles from home. So the question is, how fast was I traveling? Stop the video and take a minute to see if you can figure it out before I show you. All right, let's see if we could understand the data in the table. So the point 1, 20 means that after 1 hour, I was 20 miles from home. And the point 4, 30 means that after 4 hours, I was 30 miles from home. So if we want to find miles per hour, which is how fast I was going, we need to divide the number of miles I traveled by the number of hours. So we went 30 minus 20 is 10 miles. In 4 minus 1 equals 3 hours. So my speed was 10 divided by 3, 10/3, or 3.3 miles per hour. Now on the graph, this distance from here to here, this shows the time elapsed. Okay, and if you see the distance from here to here, that's 3 hours. This vertical distance between the points is the amount of distance, the distance that I traveled during that time. And you can see that that's 10 miles on this graph. On a graph, this horizontal distance is called the run. And this vertical distance over here is called the rise. And we sometimes refer to rate as rise over run. Okay? Just a good idea to keep that term in mind. Now, in this situation, we came up with this speed, and we would say that the rate of speed that I was traveling is 10/3, or 3.33 miles per hour. We would also say that the slope of this line, is 10/3, or 3.333. All right? The slope kind of gives you the tilt of the line. That's kind of what that means. And it turns out that slope and rate for a given problem are really the same thing. Now here's a graph about my muffin inventory over some period of time. Now, when I started, I had 100 muffins. After 1 day, I had 250 muffins because I was making muffins. After 2 days, I had 400, and after 3 days, I had 550 muffins. I'd like you to take a moment and figure out how many muffins per day I was making for each of those 3 days. Stop the video, copy this problem into your journal, and restart the video when you've determined the rate. All right, so let's take a look at this. The graph shows that after 1 day, I had made 250 muffins, and after 3 days, I had made 550 muffins. So I made 550 minus 250, that's 300 muffins in that time, and the time was 3 minus 1 equals 2 days. So my rate of muffin making is 300 over 2, 300 muffins divided by 2 days, or 150 muffins per day. Now, you may have chosen 2 different points than I did. What if you had chosen the point 0, 100 and the point 2, 400? Well, from this, we would see, well, we had 400 minus 100. That's the number of muffins I made during that time. And the time period was from 0 to 2, so that's 2 days. So I still made 300 over 2, which equals 150 muffins per day. And in fact, on a line, it doesn't matter which 2 points you select to compute the slope or rate. On a straight line, it's always going to be the same. Now, let's see how to compute rate or slope just using points. Now here's the problem. So I saved up some money so that I could go to the movies every week during the summer. At the third week of the summer, I had $150 left. So I went to a couple of movies already, and we don't know what I started with, but after the third week, I had $150 in the bank. After the 10th week, I had $83.50 left in the bank. So we want to know what was the cost per movie. So we can simulate this, or we can represent this problem as 2 points. The beginning point was after 3 weeks, I had $150, and the second one is after 10 weeks, I had $83.50. Now, the cost for each movie is going to be $83.50 minus $150, and so that's the difference in cost, and the difference in number of weeks is 10 minus 3, and that's 7. And you'll notice that this came out to be negative. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. So we now compute negative 66.5 over 7, and we find that this comes out to negative 950. Now, it's often the case that when we talk about costs, when you spend money, that's kind of a negative. So in this case, we would say that the rate is negative 950, or we would say that the movie cost $9.50. Now, we can generalize this by saying that if we have 2 points, let's say x1 and y1, so the x-coordinate of the first point and the y-coordinate of the first point, and we have the second point, x2, y2, the x-coordinate of the second point and the y-coordinate of the second point, the way we find the slope is by taking y2 minus y1 and dividing that by x2 minus x1. Here, x1, y1 was 3, 150, x2, y2 was 10, 8350, and we computed the slope by subtracting y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This formula is called the slope formula, and it's something that you should definitely put into your journal. Now, we're going to do a couple more examples, and I'll run through these quickly, and then I'll let you do some on your own. So we want to find the slope of the line containing each pair of points. So here's the first pair, 10, 15, and 14, 23. So we'll take y2 minus y1, 23 minus 15, that's 8. Divide that by x2 minus x1, 14 minus 10, and you get 8 divided by 4, which is 2. So that's the slope. For this next problem, negative 2, 4, and 5, negative 3, we do the subtraction. Negative 3 minus 4 divided by 5 minus negative 2. Got to watch the signs. Negative 3 minus 4, that's negative 7. And 5 minus negative 2 is 7. Negative 7 divided by 7 is negative 1, so the slope is negative 1. And finally, 4, 20 and negative 10, 50. The slope is going to be 50 minus 20, that's 30, divided by negative 10 minus 4. That's 30 divided by negative 14, which we can simplify to negative 15 sevenths. Now I'd like you to try to find the slopes of the line containing each pair of points. These are 2 separate problems. Copy these to your journal, stop the video while you work it out, and restart the video when you're finished to check your answers. Okay, so the first one, 112 and 10, 0. The slope is 0 minus 12 divided by 10 minus 1. That's negative 12 divided by 9, or negative 12 ninths, or negative 4 thirds. For the second one, the slope is going to be 7 minus negative 4 divided by 10 minus 8. That would be 7 minus negative 4 is 11. 10 minus 8 is 2. So this is 11 halves as the slope.